guys, it's Kesara, and today I'm gonna be doing my April TBR. Don't worry, you didn't miss my March TBR. I didn't post one. I actually haven't posted in a while, but I figured that I should get back into the swing of things. So I thought I would start with my April TBR because I actually didn't make a TBR for March. So it will help me get started back on reading from a TBR. So hopefully that works out for me. I'll talk a little bit more about that in my next reading vlog, so check that out if you guys want to hear a little bit more about that. But I'm gonna do this TBR like I always do, where I have my goals of one classic, one sci-fi, one mystery/thriller novel, one middle grade or YA novel, and then one wild card along with 3 fantasy books. So we're gonna get into those, and including my book for my Diversathon TBR as well. So the first book I want to talk about is my classic for the month, and I kind of chose a weird one, a really weird one, but it's a book that I've been meaning to read since December, and in December I couldn't read it because it's a Christmas book, okay guys, and it's never available at my library. At least audiobooks never available at my library in December when I really want to read it. So I bought the book in December, but it didn't ship until January. So I've had this book since January, and I kind of still want to read it because I'm interested, because I think I've seen the movie. I'm not sure. But anyways, it's A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. It's a classic Christmas novel that I've been meaning to read forever and just never got around to it. And an audiobook, at least one of the audiobooks, is done by one of my favorite audiobook narrators, and I'm just kind of in the mood for something that's nostalgic but still new. So I haven't actually read this book, but I know the idea behind it. I know the story behind it. I feel like everyone does, and it'll have a nostalgic feel to it because it's one of my favorite audiobook narrators as well, and I really like just listening to his voice sometimes. So I'm really excited for this. It's short. I need some short books right now, and this will work perfectly for me. So I'm really excited this one. Also, Charles Dickens is one of those authors where I really like some of his stuff, and then I'm just kind of bored by some of his other stuff. So I'm excited to see where this one lands on that scale. For my sci-fi novel, I'm actually going to be choosing a new release in the month of April, and I'm really excited for this new release because it's A Fugitive Telemetry by Martha Wells. This is technically it would be the 6th book, 2nd full-length novel in the Murderbot Diaries, and I absolutely love the Murderbot Diaries. The first 4 novellas I enjoyed, but the first novel, Network of Fact, I absolutely loved so much. I cannot wait to continue on with the series. The Murderbot Diaries is about an artificial intelligence who kills people, and it calls itself Murderbot, but is deep down a good person and gets very emotional, and it's just the best artificial intelligence story that you possibly think of. I absolutely love it, and I can't wait to continue on with the series. For my thriller, I'm gonna be kind of cliche for my thriller this month because I'm choosing the Goodreads Choice Awards winner for Book of the Year last year for mystery/thrillers, and that's The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I don't know anything about this book other than it won the Goodreads Choice Awards. I like to keep an eye on those books, and when they're available at my library, I'll download them, and I didn't have any other ones that I was really interested in, so I decided that I would kind of give this one kind of a wild card and see how it goes. Hopefully I'll end up liking it. Like I said, I have no idea what this book is about, but I'm guessing by the guest list it has something to do with guests that are on a list. That sounds terrible, but I've never read this author before. A lot of people seem to really like this book, so hopefully I'll end up loving it too. And now for my middle grade / YA book. It's actually going to be a middle grade book, and it's also going to be my Diversathon pick. So for those of you who don't know, Diversathon is a year-long readathon in which there is a different topic every month of reading diverse voices, basically. And the topic for the month of April is to read a book whose main character is not white. So I decided to go with A Mixture of Mischief by Anna Mariano. And part of the reason why I decided to go with this one is because it's an Hispanic main character, which I don't read a lot of books with Hispanic main characters. I do read quite a lot of books with Black or Asian main characters, so I feel like I wouldn't really be going out of my comfort zone by choosing one of those races instead. So I decided to go with Hispanic, and this is also a series that I absolutely love. This is the 3rd book in the Love, Sugar, Magic series. It's about a girl named Leo who gets into a bit of trouble when she finds out that her family is actually a family of brujas or witches, and they bake magic to the treats and stuff they sell at their local bakery. And it's just a fun, cute series that I end up loving. There's only 3 books in this series, and I've only read the first 2 books once, but both of them really just blew me away with just how cute and fun and sweet it was, and I'm really excited for more of that adorableness in the month of April. So the next book we have is going to be my wild card. So for my wild card this month, I decided to go with The Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout. So this could technically go as a fantasy, but for me, I don't know, I feel like fantasy, I want something that's a little bit more high fantasy. This really feels more like a romance to me. This is the 3rd book in the Blood and Ash series, in case you're wondering, which I decided to pick up from Blood and Ash earlier this year, again, because it was a Goodreads Choice Award winner for the romance category. So I decided to pick it up just on a complete whim. Turns out I actually really loved it. I don't know if I actually like the romance that much, but the story worked for me. Just the tension and the way it was written really worked for me, even though it's a vampire romance. I know, why do I do this to myself? But like, I don't know, it's like really good in a guilty pleasure sort of way. And like the first two books, I read them both in like a week, and they're not short books. They're pretty thick. So a week is really quick for these two books. And I literally just couldn't put them down. So I'm really hoping that I'm gonna like the third book in the trilogy as well. I actually might reread the first two books in the series just because even though it hasn't been that long, I read through them so quickly that I don't know if I'm just gonna get all the details from it. So I might reread the first two books in anticipation of the third book, even though like I read the first two books like a couple of months ago. Like it hasn't been very long at all. But I'm a notorious rereader, so that's like nothing new to me. And I'm just really excited for this new release. It's one of the few that I actually still have on pre-order right now. Now we're gonna get to my fantasy reads. The first one, I couldn't decide if I wanted to switch it with Crown of Gilded Bones just because it could kind of be a wild card, but it is definitely fantasy, but it's of a different format, but I'm excited for it. I kind of wanted to read something just kind of like a little different, and this is a series that so far I absolutely love, and that's Monstress by Marjorie Liu. So this is obviously a graphic novel. I can't remember if I've read volumes 1 or 2, but it's either volume 2 or volume 3 that's gonna be on my TBR for April. I might just read both if I haven't yet. So this is the bind up of the first 3 volumes in the series, and I absolutely love the premise of the series because this is a high fantasy series. It's set in like historical China, but it's an alternate matriarchal China, which is just really cool, and I absolutely love it. This is one of the darkest graphic novel series that I've ever tried, but I absolutely love that about it also. Definitely has kind of like a grimdark aspect to it that I really enjoy, and the art in this is just absolutely stunning. You can open it to pretty much any page, and it is absolutely gorgeous. And as you can see, very dark as well. So yeah, absolutely love this. And like I said, I've been wanting to read things that are just like a little bit different. I felt like reading a different format this month would be a good idea. So I'm really excited to get back to this. So on a more conventional note, I'm also planning to pick up Call of the Bone Ships by RJ Barker. So this is the second book in the Tide Child series. It's a maritime fantasy, which you guys know I love maritime fantasy, and I really enjoyed the first book in the series. I got the first book from NetGalley, and then this book was a new release in November, and November, December were not great reading months for me, like at all. So I literally just finished, no, I still have 2 more new releases from November that I have to get to. This is the third one. This is the easier one to get to, so we're gonna get to this one first. So, and I'm really excited for it. This author is definitely the type of author that I feel like has very intricate world building that you have to kind of get, but at the same time also has really action-packed stories. So I'm really excited to get to this. I've heard that it's really good. Like I've heard really good things about it, and that makes me even more excited. And lastly, the book series that I'm probably gonna be spending the most time in the month of April reading, and the first book in the series is gonna be a reread, but I'm like really excited for it. I'm just in the mood, like completely in the mood for this type of book, and it's a book that I've been meaning to reread for like over a year now, and that's The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. I've heard such good things about this series, and I read the first book and I absolutely loved it, and I gave the first book 5 stars. But when I read the first book, I listened to the audiobook, and for those of you who know anything about this series, the first book in this series, or at least I've heard it's the whole series, but at least I know the first book in the series jumps between multiple time in the same world with the same characters, but it doesn't give you any indication in the audiobook that it's jumping from time. So if you're not paying very close attention to it, you can easily get mixed up. So I kind of regretted doing that because it's one of those books that you really have to pay attention to all the little details to really get the ending. And while I did pay close enough attention, there's definitely details that I know that I missed. So I wanted to reread this book before continuing on with the rest of the series, and I just never got around to rereading it. So I'm gonna get around to rereading it. I just wanted one of those series that I can get lost in and just get lost in the world and all of the details of the series and with characters that I know that I love. And this book exactly fits that, while at the same time, since I haven't read the second, third, and fourth books, I think it has 4 books. I might be wrong about that. It at least has 3 books. I know it has at least 3 books in this series out so far. Since I haven't read those, I can probably just binge read this series, potentially. Is kind of what I've been doing the last couple of months, even though like I've had TBRs, I've kind of just been binge reading other stuff. So just to go off of that train, I'm going to reread the first book in the series. And if I'm still feeling in the mood to binge read stuff, I have 2 more books in this series that are on my shelf that I can definitely just get to, and I know I'm gonna love. So I'm really excited for this, and hopefully I'll end up loving my reread of the first book and get to the other books in this series as well. For those of you who don't know, this series is is following a character named Locke Lamora. He puts together basically this thieving crew called the Gentleman Bastards, and they live in the city of Kamor. It's just them and their wild antics, and there's just so much goodness in the series that I absolutely love. There's some great friendships, there's really intricate and detailed world building that I absolutely love, but I think what really takes this novel to the next level is the complexity of the plot, and the detail that goes into the plot and the structure of the novel just works really, really well, and I'm really excited to get back to this world. So that is all I have for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I post videos on Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so consider subscribing. If you'd like to be notified as soon as I upload, you can click that little bell icon. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up to support my channel. All social media links are in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!